In an epic failure, the Senate GOP plan to repeal and replace Obamacare has now sadly, tragically, completely fallen apart, which breaks a major promise they have been making to you, the American people. Not 1 year, not five, for 7 years. The Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, now says that the plan going forward is to do a clean repeal of the disastrous health care law, and we'll see how that plays out. I'd be happy with that. I'll explain later. And earlier today, President Trump reacted to the news of the latest failure from Congress, the lack of urgency, the lack of accomplishments of them. Take a look.
I'm certainly disappointed. For 7 years I've been hearing repeal and replace from Congress, and I've been hearing it loud and strong, and then when we finally get a chance to repeal and replace, they don't take advantage of it. So that's disappointing.
All right, we're going to have a lot more on President Trump's reaction later in the show, but first, pay very close attention. If you're in the D.C. swamp, I have a very important message for you, congressional Republicans. I and so many of us in the country, we have run out of patience with you. You are the do-nothing GOP lawmakers. And up to now, to be very, very honest, and it's really sad, you're pretty useless. And all you have now is excuses and broken promises. Remember 2010, vote for us, give us the House, we'll get rid of Obamacare. Well, which the American people did. You got the House in 2010. In 2014, you said, give us the House and the Senate. And we delivered. The people delivered. And then in 2016, you said, give us the House and Senate and the White House. And then, once and for all, we'll repeal Obamacare. Okay, let's remind this audience exactly what they were promised so there's no ambiguity here. Take a look.
There's only one way to truly fix Obamacare. Only one way. And that's a full repeal. A full repeal. That's been our goal from the start. That's our goal now, and we plan to achieve it.
It's clear that any serious attempt to improve our health care system must begin with full repeal and replacement of Obamacare, a mission I remain fully committed to fighting on behalf of the people of Arizona.
Repealing Obamacare's poorly crafted and misguided mandates and replacing the law with a fiscally responsible reform bill that contains costs and provides more choices is the best path forward.
You can't repair this monstrosity. You got to tear it down and start all over again.
How do you get to that point, though?
When they lose elections.
And you think that's the key, that the Republicans have to take the Senate, and from that point you can have a different strategy?
Yeah, the ones who survive in 2016 or up in 2016 are going to have a different attitude.
You know, this was the Republicans' big chance, and up till now they've completely blown it. Now, since 2011, remember the Republican-controlled House? They have voted a whopping 68 times to repeal, defund, delay parts of Obamacare. Guess what? I guess it now turns out they were all phony show votes because they never used the power of the purse. Where is the decisive action? You know, was this all a big game, a giant fraud perpetrated on the American people? Well, now you Republicans, you face a moment of truth. This is a tipping point. And as I said last night, if you want to be successful, if you want to hold on to your seats in 2018 in the midterms, there are 4 key things you better accomplish by the end of this year. Remember I said last night, you need to have completed at least 200-300 miles of the border wall and have a plan in place and fund the rest of it. In other words, fund the rest of building the wall. Second, this is not an option. Obamacare repealing is not an option. You don't do your job, many of you will be fired and deserve to be fired. Third, you need to have an energy revolution. We need to be energy independent, and we'll also create millions of high-paying career jobs to Americans that desperately need them. The fourth and most important aspect of this, after you get the $1 trillion savings from repealing Obamacare, or at least trying to start repealing and replacing, then that $1 trillion, well, then you add the middle-class tax cuts, the corporate tax cuts. That's got to be done soon as well, and maybe make it retroactive. Also, the repatriation, multinational corporations, so they can invest trillions in manufacturing centers and factories here in America. We've got to get the 50 million Americans out of poverty, off of food stamps, back in the labor force, and buying homes. Now, how do you accomplish goal number 3? Which is repealing, replacing Obamacare? Here's what you Republicans in Congress need to do. This is my recommendation to you. You're all pretty lazy. Both chambers need to get together. We'll start with the Senate. 52 members, get in a room. By the way, turn off the air conditioner. Start sweating like the rest of America. You know what? Use fans like our founding fathers and framers did. And you know what? No Senate dining room food and fare for you. How about order some pizza? Get some fast food. Get some KFC, some Wendy's, and Burger. I'll even send beer and Coke and Sprite. And you know what? Don't leave the room until you do your job and come out and say, we have come to an agreement and we have a bill that we can put on President Trump's desk. In other words, serve the American people. Put up a big sign. America's promises, your promise to the American people. We are servants of the people. If you can't get this done, then new leaders need to be elected who can do your job. And for example, in the Senate, Mitch McConnell, you can't get the job done, step aside, and let's put somebody in your place. Now, to his credit in the House, Paul Ryan did get a bill passed. Not what I wanted, but at least it was a great first start. But you got to face facts here. This is beyond pathetic. It's now July 18th. All these years, all you Republicans promise, again, that you're going to end the nightmare that is Obamacare. Millions have lost their health care plans. They lost their doctors. They're paying on average $6,000 to $8,000 more a year because of Obamacare. It's an epic failure. And you know what? Coming close doesn't count. You people in Congress, you are pampered, you are overpaid, you are spoiled. Just listen to all the perks these senators get to break their promises. All right, here's their salary, $174,000 a year, 3 times higher than the median household income. I know you have 2 homes. I get the whole argument. You get free parking at work. You get free parking at airports. You get an average allowance of $3.3 million to maintain your offices and hire assistants. You also get taxpayer-subsidized haircuts. Why do I have to pay for your haircut at the Senate barbershop? You have access to the congressional gyms. Well, guess what? Until you can keep your word, do your job, all these benefits need to go away. And the most important, stop with the vacations. You're in recess for 77 weekdays per year. I get it. Some of you need to spend a little time back in your districts, but not playing golf. Do what you need to do. Stay at work, stay in work all of August, and when you're in the middle of negotiating a bill, don't take off, don't go on vacation yet again, because you know what? It doesn't make sense. And it is exactly why the American people, and me included, I'm fed up with all of you. This is why your approval rating is in the gutter. Latest Gallup poll, you're at 20%. Congratulations, you earned it. And while Republicans continue to drag their feet and fail to rid the American people of the burdens of Obamacare, maybe it's time to think out of the box. You know, on TV and radio, I interview this doctor. I've been interviewing him since 2012. The guy's a genius. His name is Josh Umber. He runs a cost-effective health cooperative, concierge care for anybody that can pay $50 a month, on call 24/7. And $50 a month, $10 a month for kids. Here's Dr. Umber explaining how it works. Maybe you should listen to real solutions. Take a listen.
The idea is direct primary care, which is the new model going forward, where we don't take insurance because we don't need insurance for the common things. Our care is $10 a month for kids, $50 a month for most adults for unlimited visits, no co-pays, free office procedures, and up to 95% savings on medications, labs, imaging, etc. by going wholesale. We're able to take that full value, go back to an employer, decrease their insurance premiums by 30 to 60% in the first year. These are things that could dramatically change the scope of medicine in this country.
Wow. It's such a simple concept. So instead of arguing over how much money the federal government should spend and subsidize health care, well, why don't you work on new paradigms, new ideas, things like Dr. Umber has been doing in Wichita, Kansas to control costs. And by the way, he's duplicated that model in 600 other offices around the country. And for the record, I'll accept the 2015 repeal of Obamacare, and I'll accept a 2-year transition period, which is their plan B, but only under this condition. You can't spend billions of new dollars in new spending. Here with reaction.